Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the movie Oppenheimer, and I know that I really haven't talked about any movies in this award season except for my Oscars video reaction that I think was the last video I posted on this channel. And as you know, I don't really upload a lot anymore because it's quite time. You require a lot of time to edit and a lot of time to do these videos with quality, as I don't have any quality, and I don't do videos for quality. Don't do videos for money, so that it was never about that for me, and I don't really have the time to do them. At all. I'm recording this video at 1:10 a.m. after watching the movie, so, because I finally bit the bullet and had to pay to watch the fucking movie on Apple TV Plus, because on Apple TV Plus, yes, because I was waiting and waiting and waiting for this movie to be available. Here in Latin America, I think Universal has a partnership with HBO, so it should be on HBO Max or whatever you want to call it, but it hasn't come up yet. So I think it's wild that it has taken so much time to be on any streaming service. So I had to pay for it. So whatever. So talking about the movie, and of course I wanted to watch this movie as soon as possible, as soon as I could, should I say, because this movie is going to win Best Picture and Best Director for sure at the Oscars. I think we have known who the winners are going to be for many months now, and I have to say that this award season has been one of the most boring ones ever since I have been following the Academy Awards, and that has been for a while, for 20 years basically. So this one is bad. Really, besides from some of the Barbie scandal and all of that, which is not really a scandal but a fact. Nothing has really surprised anyone, and again, this is the movie that is going to win Best Picture and Best Director, and to be honest, I think deservedly so. You have to compare it to Barbie, I think, because they came out at the same time, and you have the whole Barbenheimer experience that actually helped both movies. Barbie won over $1 billion, and I think Oppenheimer won more than 800, almost $900, $100 million, and that's a lot of money for a drama, basically, and a really tough drama, because it's about a man that invented and helped made the bombs that the United States dropped on Japan to end World War II, and that killed thousands upon thousands of people. So he's not the most popular person ever, and I do think that it needed time to be made, this movie. Not because the technology wasn't there or something, because this movie doesn't really require a lot of technology, but because I think we needed to really think about the character and really put it through a lens, basically. And I do think that Christopher Nolan makes a great case for this movie, because I really think that he understands that he has to put everything in perspective, and you have to be in perspective in order to understand the movie, because it was a very particular time for the United States and for the world, when that knowledge became so sought after in order to win the war. As you see in the movie at the beginning, quantum physics and relativism and all of that, it's popular among scientists, but it's not really popular with anyone else, because first of all, because no one understands it, and second, because it doesn't really have a purpose, let's say. People didn't understand how it could be used. And actually, it was after that, after the nuclear bomb, when people were like, oh, we can use this for energy, basically. I bet someone before thought of it, but it wasn't a really popular opinion. It was after the bombs were dropped that became a reality, something that could happen. So it was very important to reflect that mood of the time, that as you see, and actually I was reading as the movie had some slow moments. I was reading about, people that don't agree if it was necessary or not to drop the bombs at that time, that even today, in the United States, I have to say, in the United States, most people agree that they would drop the bombs again if they were in the same situation. I mean, the people would support their government to do so. And actually, even in hypothetical event such as a war with Iran, people would support bombing Iran with nuclear bombs, which I think is horrible, because I'm of the of the thought that killing thousands upon thousands doesn't really stop anything. It just generates more bloodshed, more war, and it creates a race, which was exactly what Oppenheimer realized that he was doing. I mean, I think he was. I think this movie actually proves something that I was actually also proven by. I don't know if you know this series known as Genius from National Geographic, and they did a whole season about Albert Einstein. And you can also see there that they were both very innocent, very naive about how their discoveries could be used, because they would always think that it could expand knowledge of humanity about themselves, ourselves, and about the universe, and it could bring a peace to the world because we would be united in knowing these fantastic truths. And that's a I mean, that's really cute to think, but I don't think that scientists are the best people to realize what a real human is all about. They're not psychologists, they're not psychiatrists, they're not people that are, doctors, they're not military men, they're not politicians, which is the worst because they just see the practical thing. They see the beauty in these whole new world that was opened back then, the nuclear atom world, if you will. But today we know that that's too simple to think that would unite through knowledge, because that has never happened. I mean, after every single discovery that humanity has made for its improvement, we have used that same knowledge to destroy each other. And that's, for example, I mean, it is mentioned in these, and it has been mentioned many times, Alfred Nobel, who is the name, I mean, who gave his name to the Nobel Peace Prize, and, all the prizes that the Nobel gives away. He created dynamite, which, I mean, I bet that at the start he wanted to use it for something less destructive than killing humans, but it has been used to kill humans. So it's really innocent, and even like things that right now we don't think are dangerous, like AI, for example, they can become dangerous if we misuse them, or not even misuse them, but if you use them to inflict damage or something like that upon other human beings. So we have to learn a little bit about our history, and I think that is one of the many points that this movie has, that you have to learn after the others, what has happened before. You cannot be naive just thinking that everything is going to be okay, because everything never is okay. And I think that the movie is not only about Oppenheimer as a person, but Oppenheimer as a reflection of what it means not to have a position, what it means not to speak up, what it means not to, state your personal beliefs. And I think that he did made a great deal of conversations and symposiums and seminaries after the whole thing, about how he felt about the bomb, and how he felt that there should not be an arms race against the Soviet Union. However, most people believe that the one with the most weapons would be the winner because it would intimidate the other, but that ended up never happening. I mean, the Soviet Union collapsed because of many other problems, actually emanating from the expense that they were doing on weapons. I mean, the Soviet Union and Russia is still kind of a poor country amongst everything because they have all the resources in the world misused, because they misuse them on things that shouldn't be that important to them, but they are. And the United States is also making the same mistake today in places like Israel, in places like Iran, in places like Yemen, in places like Iraq, in Syria, and all over the place. Because again, it's all about who's the strongest, not about who wants to actually calm things down and say, okay, we live in a sphere or whatever shape the fuck the earth is, and we all live here. We cannot escape this. Never. I know movies say that we can go to Mars or to wherever. We can't. Not in the next 200 years. We won't be anywhere else. So we have to really think about, okay, do we really want to launch a bunch of weaponry against whoever and, potentially cause our destruction? And that's something that I love about this movie. It really lingers in those possibilities, and it has this double. The movie really changes a lot because at times it's a scientific movie, if you will, about the discoveries of these men, but then it's a war film against, creating the weapon and winning the war, and then it becomes kind of like a judgy, like a court drama or something, because there's this guy who really has it against Oppenheimer and he hates him, and that's interesting and all, but that's not the point about the whole story. I mean, all that the character played by Robert Downey Jr. I mean, it's really interesting that someone hated these men so much, but it's really not the point. About the whole Oppenheimer history, his imprint in history. The most important thing to do is to know when you should stop, and when you should speak up, and when you should stop listening to the crowd. Because, at that time, everyone was like, oh, let's kill the Nazis, and then let's kill the Soviets, and this hatred against groups. Oh, they're communists, so of course all the communists have to be Soviet spies, so we have to round them up, and that has happened up to our days, because we still round up people for their political beliefs, and we still round people because of their tastes on whatever, if they are homosexual, if they are transsexual, if they happen to be leftist, if they happen to be socialist, if they happen to be whatever. And we still do that, and we haven't learned anything. But that's the sad part of watching these movies, that we haven't learned anything from that moment in history, which is tragic, to say the least. So I think Christopher Nolan did a fantastic job reflecting that and connecting that reality, that part of history, to our own, and making us realize that people are still shitty, people are still enraged just because you made them look like idiots, basically, and that people that are in silence so often could be detrimental to many other people. I mean, that could be worse than a bomb, to be honest, to make people feel that they cannot speak up, and when you don't speak up, you end up believing the people that are in charge, and the people that are in charge are not always right, as we know. So I think that's a very smart thing to do from Christopher Nolan, and I do think this is his best movie, to be honest. I mean, I love Interstellar, I love Inception, the Batman trilogy is fantastic, but I really think this movie is the one where he combined all of his talent into one fantastic movie, and I really think he should win the Academy Award. It's really deserved. I am very happy that he's going to finally have an Academy Award, to be honest. As for the movie, of course, it has to win because of all these things that I have already said, so I'm not going to repeat it. But as technical things go, I was very surprised by the art direction. It was so prolific and so clean. I watched the movie in 4K and it's beautiful. I mean, every single scene is gorgeous, but it's rather simplistic at the same time. It's not overbearing, so I really appreciated that. The costume design is just like any other movie set in the 40s, 50s, so I don't think it was that impressive, that part of the movie, sadly. The sound is base I mean it's at the core of the movie, so it really deserves that Academy Award for sure, as well as the one for best score, because that score by Ludwig Göransson, I think it is, the same from Black Panther. I mean that man is a genius. It's a fantastic score that really makes you like feel in the moment. I mean, and the silences and the overbearing music and the sounds. I mean, it's fantastic. It's really really well done. The editing is fine. I mean, I have a hard time sometimes with the editing, because there are the parts of the movie that I think they should be cut. I think half an hour of this movie could be cut, to be honest, because there are scenes that are unnecessary. Not because they are bad, but because they don't really need to be there. So I don't think this movie has the best screenplay ever, although it has fantastic moments, such as some of the courtroom scenes, if you will. It wasn't a courtroom, but you know what I mean. As for performances, of course, Cillian Murphy is going to win the Academy Award for Best Actor, and it's very well deserved. He really made, I mean, he is the movie, basically, so he has to win it for that. And the other two nominations for this movie are actually for Robert Downey Jr., and I have to say that at times I think he does a little bit too much. He's too, like, he wants it too bad, to be honest. It was kind of obvious that he wanted this movie to be his award movie, and it's going to be. He's going to win the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, but I mean, I don't know if he deserves it, to be honest. I mean, he did a fine job, but I don't know. I don't know if I would give in to him. I have to watch the other nominees' movies, to be honest, but out of the gate, I don't know. I don't know if I would. And I wouldn't give I mean, she's not going to win it, Emily Blunt, the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. I mean, she has not, she doesn't really have too many scenes, and she's too similar in all of her scenes. And I do understand that the character, the real person, was like that, but she's a little bit too repetitive for my taste, except, and kind of annoying, to be honest, except for the one of I mean, her courtroom scene, if you will, where she is magnetic. She's fantastic, and she shows what Emily Blunt is capable of. So I wouldn't give her a vote, let's say, for this movie, but I would really pay attention to what she can actually do in a movie. I mean, she has been in a lot of movies, a lot of them not really that great, but I think that she has shown something interesting in this movie. So I'm really excited for what this first Academy Award nomination could bring to her. So that's all that I have to say for this movie. It's going to win the Academy Award, everything, and I hope this video is not too long, but I really did appreciate this film because it's fantastic. I mean, again, I would cut it a little bit because these 3-hour movies are becoming insane. I mean, it's becoming crazy that movies are so long. I mean, it's ridiculous, to be honest. And I don't think that a good movie should equate to 4 hours in a fucking movie theater. I mean, this is 2024. The world has changed. Let's change with the world, basically. I mean, I'm not asking every movie to be 1 hour and a half, but why not? I mean, let's see what happens, basically. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you agree with me on some things and whatever. I'm going to post some other videos soon. Thank you so much. Goodbye.